Hi there, Anona family and guests. My name is Jonathan Dennison. I'm the Director of Technical Arts at Anona, and I wanted to give you a quick tour of our updated live worship interface at live.anona.com. Now, what you will see here is a much more streamlined, clean-looking interface. There is no wasted space at all. But for those of you who are returning for the first time, you might notice that you're probably wondering where your sign-in or login options are. Well, those have moved to two different places, and I'll show you those now. The first one is up here in the top left-hand corner. It's got three little lines. They so very cutely call it the sandwich icon because, well, it kind of looks like a sandwich. So if you tap or click on that, what you will see is your options for login and sign up. There's also this little language bar here. This is actually a translator, and it will do its best to translate the chat into your language of choice. The last little option here is a little slider, which will, like it says right here, chat size increased. This will actually make the size of the text in the chat just a little larger if you have trouble seeing small type. Now, your other option is, let's say maybe you're not ready to create a new user yet. But if you simply type in and say, hello, I'm here, whatever you want, this is your first greeting, saying hi, what it'll do is it will then say, okay, great, pick a nickname. This is a temporary name. This is not your full-on name. Your other option here is you could go ahead and log in from here. So before I do this, I am going to show you one other thing here. Back up in the chat thing. If you do choose to sign up for the first time, this is what you'll be presented. You will see the request for a nickname, an email, and a password. Now, for the nickname, this is a name that you can change after the fact, so don't feel like you have to spend a lot of time to choose a name that you need to commit to. But I do recommend that you choose a name that people will recognize. This is your church family, and we'd like to know who we're talking to. Now, with your email, this is not going to be sold or used in any other way other than to allow you to have an account on this live system. So don't feel too worried. If anything at all, you might eventually get an email from the system say, hey, a service is starting. But that's about it. So don't worry, we're not going to use this in any way. All right, so now let's say that we're going to be a temporary guest. So I'm going to go ahead and say, hello, I'm here. And I am going to choose the name Gandalf because Gandalf is cool. So I'm going to do that. And now you'll see Gandalf is now on the list. So let's say that my alter ego is also on here. And I can say, hi, Gandalf. And then maybe the next thing he'll say, I'm going to show you a few other features of this system if you haven't used them yet. You like a private prayer. And as Gandalf, I'll say, well, gee, you know, I really do think I need that right now. Over in the bottom of your viewing window, I think on an iPad, it might actually be right in the very middle, is the option called Live Prayer. When you click on that, it's going to create a completely new tab on the right-hand side, or if you're on a phone, it might be underneath, which is separate from your live chat. So this is completely private. And so now I will jump in here. So now as myself, I will type in, what do you need prayer for? And you'll see that show up there. And maybe, here's the thing with this private chat. This is a private chat with anyone on our team. By default, ideally a Stephen minister or a pastor is going to show up first. But let's say Gandalf is going to say, I need some technical help. My stream is not working all that well. And so then what I could do is, as a host, I could invite a different person on the chat. So let's say you need a different set of skills. Maybe you do feel like you need to talk to a pastor instead of a Stephen minister. Or you do just need, like in Gandalf's case, some technical help. The current team member you're with can invite a different person into the chat to give you the kind of help you need. Or, an alternative is from this chat, you just agree that you're going to give them your phone number, and then at a later scheduled time, a student minister or pastor can just talk with you privately over the phone if you prefer that instead. In Gandalf's case, he is saying, I need some technical help. My stream's not working so well, so I'm going to show you another feature on this interface. You'll look at the bottom of your screen. You'll have a little gear icon. This gear icon gives you different streaming qualities, basically. The lower the number is, the lower the quality is, but with lower quality also means less demand on your internet connection. So if you're on a cell phone with a weak cell signal, or if your internet in your neighborhood's just not doing all that great that day, maybe there's a sports ball game or something going on, you can choose a smaller number and it'll do that. Now by default, it should be on the little word here called auto. So over time, it'll eventually figure out what streaming quality works best and just scale it down. But in case you're still struggling, you can just jump right in there and pick a lower number. If those aren't working, chances are you probably just need to check your internet connection as a whole, or just refresh your browser. Believe it or not, that actually works quite a lot. It's kind of like rebooting your computer, but in this case, it's just your web page. All right, now when you're done with a private chat, you can just click the leave link up here, or if you want, you can leave it open and just go back to the public chat, which is still going. All right, so let me show you another new feature on our system here. This is a function called moments. You can actually already see two of them right up here. These moments are like interactive items in the chat. So let's say as a host, I'm going to be over on my host side. All right, so they're talking about giving in the offertory. And so I'm going to post the give moment. I see it's kind of timing down. It's going to stay right here at the bottom of the screen until this little timer is done, and then it'll just stick in with the thing. If I click give, it will take you over to our give page, where you have all the options in the world on how to give and who to talk to and stuff like that. Now, what you can't see on my video right now is that I actually have two tabs open now. I have the original live.anona.com page, which is still running and the chat's still going. But often when you click on a new link, it may, or an item in moments, or one of these URLs up here, it will open up a separate tab on your phone or in your web browser. So be aware, if you go back to the live page again, suddenly you might start hearing the video twice. That's because it's still open in another tab. So just be aware, you haven't lost the live page, it's opened up a new page. So when you're done, just close out your second tab and you can go back to the live page. Now, the final thing I'd like to show you is the good old attendance pad. Now be aware, on our live page, we're able to track the general numbers of people who have visited the page, but what we don't have is exactly who was visiting us that Sunday. So what we would really like you to do is use the attendance pad. This lets us to know that you personally were there, and you're able to also share some private prayer requests through that system. Let me show you that real quick. Two ways to get to it. One is a link up here, which right now is called Communication Card. This is a software limitation of this new interface, but eventually we'll hopefully be able to change this back to call it the Virtual Attendance Pad. The other way is through a moment. See here, I'll launch even a new moment. I'll post that, and there it is. So when we are welcoming people at the beginning of service, this will pop up. This one, as a moment, will actually just show up right here in the window, not in a separate tab, so it's super convenient for you to get right in there and do what you need to do. So you'll put in your first name and last name, your email address, what service were you visiting, and if there was anyone else with you. This is a great thing, because I know, well, like when people are here in the chat, we see one instance of a person when there might be 2 or 3 in a family sitting right there at the same computer or TV screen. So this just lets us know how many people were actually in attendance. There's also the option right down here where it says, is there anything else you'd like to tell us? This is where you can put in private prayer requests, or if you just have other questions about the church. When you're done, you hit submit and you're done. You can close it here at that little white X at the top corner. Well, I hope this helped you with getting a grasp of our live stream page and some of the new changes that have happened. So I hope to see you on Sunday.